The Department of Public Health and Human Services is pleased to bring you Aging Horizons. Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, fraud, legal issues, veterans benefits, and caregiving. Aging Horizons is a program dedicated to inform and prepare Montanans on these timely issues, making a difference to you and your loved ones. Here now is today's program host.
Hi folks, today on Aging Horizons we're going to be talking about the Governor's Conference on Aging. It's our 53rd year for this fabulous event, and we want to tell you all about the great things we have planned. We have some great speakers, some great topics, and it will be a lot of fun and very educational. And it's a hybrid. You can either go virtual or come in person. Stay with us.
Every 65 seconds, someone is affected with Alzheimer's or other dementias. Many become isolated at a time when help is most needed. If you or someone you love is affected, help is available, both for people with memory loss and their caregivers. Memory loss can feel frightening, but you are not alone. Call the free 24/7 Alzheimer's Association helpline, 800-272-3900, for guidance and support.
This is Bill. He just received his new Medicare card and is following some simple rules to protect himself from fraud. He knows to never give out his Medicare, Social Security, or bank number over the phone. And this is Nancy. She knows that to detect any problems, she always reads her Medicare summary notice or Medicare Advantage EOB to make sure the billing is correct. Both Bill and Nancy know that anything suspicious can be reported to Montana SMP at 1-800-551-3191.
45 years, 2 packs a day. It's like $80,000. I thought I was just hurting myself until I fell asleep in a chair with a cigarette. The whole house went up. I lost it all. I knew smoking was expensive, but I never thought it would cost me everything.
The human heart. Even at its strongest, it's a fragile muscle. Chest and arm pain, shortness of breath, are signs of a heart under attack. But 3 numbers can save a life. Dial 911 at the first sign of a heart attack. Quick response from medical experts can save your life.
I was 45 and it happened to me, a heart attack.
Dialing 911 saved Ryan's life. Now he's here and he's healthy.
This message sponsored by Mission Lifeline Montana.
Hello everyone and welcome to Aging Horizons, brought to you by the Department of Public Health and Human Services. I'm your host, Kimmy Everman, and today, as I said, we're going to be talking about a really exciting event coming up, and that's our 53rd Governor's Conference on Aging. We have with us today Nicole Tennis, and Nicole, you're a program specialist with the Office on Aging, and you are making all this happen, this great conference. Yeah. So tell us a little bit about, first of all, when is it?
So the Governor's Conference on Aging this year is going to be hosted in Butte, Montana at the Copper King Hotel on October 4th and 5th.
Wow. And then also, as I said in the open, it's a hybrid.
It is a hybrid. So this is going to be virtual and in person.
So it's as easy as it can be to sign up and be able to attend this event. And talk a little bit about, because we have a group of folks who help with this every year called the Governor's Advisory Council. Tell us how they're involved with the Governor's Conference and what their role is.
So they're our partners in this, and they assist with so many different things. We have Bob Meyer as the chair of our group that is putting everything together for the conference, and Gail Carlson is on the committee as well. So they just are really hands-on, really helpful with the event.
Well, and they're a group of people that you work with all year long on other things that they bring their wisdom to the table, don't they?
Yeah.
And they help, I guess, pull the conference together in a way that they they know what their peers are going to enjoy and want to want to learn about.
Yes, there are expert guiders.
Yeah, great. And then the theme this year is Rock Your Age. Tell us about that a little bit.
Yeah, so our theme is Rock Your Age, Communities of Strength. And this theme recognizes the strength and resilience that our older adults have shown during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Yeah, and that's been a difficult thing for this conference, hasn't it? Because we've had to do a lot of pivoting.
Yeah, oh yeah.
And change how we normally do things. And this year, I love the thought that it's hybrid, because that gives everybody the ability to choose the way they want to attend.
Yeah.
Right? And again, you said it's the Butte Copper King Hotel, October 4th and 5th. Now, we're going to run the website on the screen, but they can just go to our website and check things out, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's where they can register?
Yes. Yep.
Okay. All right. So we're going to run that on the screen. And then also, can we just talk a little bit about sort of the general layout of the conference? What's it going to be like?
So we're going to have 2 keynote speakers. We're going to have Percy Devine III, and he's a regional administrator for the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and he's the administrator of community living in Region 8.
Right.
And
lots of us know Percy. He's been around a lot of years, so it'll be like an old friend coming back.
Yeah, it's like having a celebrity.
Yes, indeed.
And so he's going to do an overview of the ACL's vision, mission, and national goals, as well as some expectations of the Montana 4-year state plan on aging.
And let's just clarify, ACL means Administration on Community Living, and they're really the federal group that helps with aging services and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And they'll be a part. We're so happy to have them as part of the conference, because they really they're national. They and to hear us and see us and what we want and what we desire as a state is awesome, to get that ear of the feds.
Yeah,
so,
yeah, it's wonderful.
And then, also one of the things that I really liked was the nutrition panel.
Yes.
What's that going to be like?
So we are still working on building that. We do have one nutrition program director that's on our panel so far.
Super.
We just really want to take a look at how the nutrition programs across the state are being run, and like some, just some information on that. With it having been the 50th anniversary of the nutrition program this year, we just really want to highlight those programs and kind of see our boots on the ground individuals and what their input is on their nutrition programs.
And I think, nutrition is so huge, because if you're not eating well, the rest of your life is probably not going great. And we know with our older adults that they're not always eating well. And so I would assume that we'll have some information about Meals on Wheels and that kind of thing in order to support these folks that need the nutrition assistance. And I think, this is a perfect place to do it, especially, as you said, looking across the state, replicating what might be replicable. And just letting people join in the conversation and let you know what they need.
Exactly.
Right?
Exactly.
Well, this is really exciting. We have some more things that we're going to talk about as far as keynotes and the Centenarians, because that's huge. But we really want you folks to consider coming to the conference. We're again going to put the website up where you can register. And if you can't come in person, you can join us virtually and get all this great information, and also just engage with folks that are working with elder services and really know a lot about how to direct a person into what they need. We have a lot more for you, so come on back.
think the most pleasant surprise when we turned 65 and signed up for Medicare Part B was finding out about our Welcome to Medicare preventive visit.
It was free, and it gave us the opportunity to visit with our doctors and establish a plan for our health going forward.
They reviewed our medical history, measured our height, weight, blood pressure, and counseled us on other risk factors.
To learn more about Medicare's free or low-cost preventive and wellness benefits, call your local SHIP counselor at 800-551-3191. I mentioned it's free, right?
Twice.
Elder abuse is a growing problem, and it's happening right here in our Montana communities. At least 1 in 10 older adults are victims of physical or emotional abuse, financial exploitation, or neglect. To get help or report elder abuse, call your local area agency on aging or Adult Protective Services at 1-844-277-9300.
I was the last guy you'd expect to get diabetes. I was a competitive runner and I always took care of myself. So when I was diagnosed, it kind of threw me. But it's really encouraging to know I'm not alone with it. There are a lot of other people going through the same things as I am. It takes some effort. You have to keep after it. Exercise, meds, and diet are the key. But there are a lot of folks who want me to succeed. Diabetes is not the end of the world. With effort and attitude, you can have a normal life.
Flight 109, is that Evel Knievel on the runway?
Whoa, Daredevil. You need a Montana Real ID to fly. Go to mtrealid.gov to make an appointment.
Looks easier than jumping a canyon.
Smile. I see you changed your name from Robert to Evil. Did you bring your name change documentation?
I'm not trying to pull a stunt. Got the paperwork right there.
Go to mtrealid.gov.
Now I can fly. It's that easy.
Hi folks, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with Nicole Tennis today talking about the 53rd Annual Governor's Conference on Aging. Welcome, Nicole. So good to have you here. Now we were talking about the keynotes and the breakouts that we're going to have available at the conference. Now the keynote is sort of the big giant speaker and then what are the breakouts like?
The breakouts are more catered to your individual interests.
Okay.
So the breakout sessions, we do have the nutrition panel. We have the State of Hunger with Gail Carlson, which will be a very interesting session. We're also going to have a tour of the Southwestern Veterans Home.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
yay.
It's just, kind of what you want to learn about.
Right.
So that's when you get to kind of pick and choose what your interests are at the conference.
Exactly. And again, you can register. We're putting the website up on the screen. You can register that way and just be able to attend and engage and have a great time.
Yeah.
Also wanted to talk about one of the keynote speakers that we have coming is Paul Greenwood.
Yeah.
Can you tell us a little bit about that? Because he's just a great guy.
Paul Greenwood is amazing. He is newly retired from the Deputy District Attorney position. The thing that's really great about Paul is he has prosecuted over 750 felony cases regarding geriatric and elderly abuse. So he's kind of a hero to our elderly demographic.
He should be. And I heard him speak one time, and he said that he had done everything from simple financial exploitation to a killing. To a person who was actually killed. So, certainly that's terrible, but we want a guy with that much range to be able to help us out.
Yeah.
And then what about the Centenarians is always a great part of the conference because we really want to make sure that we're celebrating the Centenarians. Can you talk a little bit about how we do that?
So right now we have 9 centenarians that we're going to be honoring at the conference. What's great is we send them a little letter and a certificate with the governor's signature on it and just really acknowledge that accomplishment. What's really great is this year the Centenarian Luncheon is being sponsored by Wish of a Lifetime by AARP. And so they are going to help with travel arrangements and the room payments and the meals for the centenarians. So
to celebrate and embrace those very wonderful people.
Yeah. So
and we always do a luncheon and all that you've just described, but every year is a new adventure with the centenarians because we get to hear the greatest stories, and we're so thrilled that that their families can come with them and have a great day. So let's move on a little bit to, there's another very big part of the Governor's Conference that we have each year, and that's the mini grants.
Yes.
Can you talk a bit about that, Nicole?
So there are mini grants that are available. You would fill out the application. There's a link to it on our page, and they can be up to $1,000 to help with all different types of projects. So it's really worth going and looking at and applying for those mini grants.
And that, I mean, that can be, we've had people at like senior centers buy a stove or redo their parking lot because it needed chip seal, or there's just all kinds of things that just a smaller amount of money can be really helpful.
Exactly.
And so these folks, and the deadline is August 15th for them to get in. What's the program is in a community of under 10,000 people. And that we also, how do we fund that? Because it's kind of interesting. We have sponsors and we have a silent auction.
Yeah.
And so people bring sort of donate silent auction gifts, and that's how we fund, in part anyway, some of these mini grants. So it's a very community-driven event.
It is. And this year, what's really cool, because it's a hybrid conference, we are going to have an in-person and a virtual silent auction so that everybody can be included and participate in the event. So,
Nicole, that sounds wonderful. And we're going to go ahead and put that website up on the screen. But we also want to talk about, just briefly, the Centenarian Search and the Centenarian Banquet, because that's pretty, as I said, that's a big part. So the search is right now. We want anyone to let us know, right?
Yes, absolutely. Let us honor your family members or yourself, or, you know, if you're going to be 100 years old this year, please participate. We want to recognize that huge accomplishment.
Yeah, and we're going to put some information up on the screen so people know how to reach out for that. But as you said, we do want to honor. I mean, can you imagine 100 years old? I complain about being 60 and how tired I am, and these folks really have some great stories to tell.
Yeah.
And they usually come with family members who are so thrilled to be there with them and to have made it through all those years.
Yes.
With that person. I think that's probably one of my favorite parts of the whole conference is the centenarians.
Me too.
And folks, we have a lot more to tell you about. We're going to talk about how you register, how you get hooked up to this, because we want you to attend if at all possible. Remember, it's a hybrid. Come on back.
Respite. It's okay to need it. It's okay to want it. Will you provide it?
The hard part about having outside help is that there's not a lot of people out there who can do that kind of work. We've been very fortunate that our Bonnie has been with us for 7 years. I don't know what I'd do without her. I need her in our lives. She's our second mother. And I can't help but think of her that way.
To find out how to change lives, including your own, call 800-224-6034 or visit respite.mt.gov.
Questions about Medicare and other types of insurance? Contact the State Health Insurance Assistance Program office to get answers to questions like, what is the difference between Medicare and Medicaid, and how do you decide if you need Medicare supplemental insurance? This insurance counseling program is not a sales program. It is available to provide answers to your insurance questions. For more information, call the State Health Insurance Assistance Program Office at 1-800-332-2272.
Did you just text me?
I didn't want to disturb you if you were sleeping.
Sleeping? I'm sitting right next to you, silly.
There you are. Hey, I found a couple of Medicare helping programs online that I think we ought to look into.
It says if we qualify, we can get help paying for our prescription drugs. Oh, and there's a program that can help pay our Part B premium.
To learn more about extra help and Medicare savings programs, call your local SHIP counselor today.
Maybe I better text him.
Summer in Montana is a great time to visit your local farmer's market. Enjoy the social atmosphere while shopping for a wide variety of fresh, locally grown produce. Together with both WIC and Senior Farmers Market nutrition programs, you help feed your family 5 or more daily servings of fruits and vegetables for better health. You also help local ag producers and enhance the state's economy. So, for summer fun that's nutritious and helps Montana's economy, shop at your local farmers market.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Aging Horizons. We're here with Nicole Tennis today talking about the Governor's Conference on Aging, which is coming up in October. Welcome, it's so good to have you, Nicole. Now another thing that's a huge part of our conference is the sort of the booths that we have folks come and man. Talk a little bit about that.
So this year, some of our booths are going to be the suicide prevention booth. We're going to have the Office of Consumer Protection. We're going to have Ways to Wellness, which is a little publication company that prints puzzle booklets for those with dementia and Alzheimer's.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, we're going to have Hearing Solutions of Montana is going to be offering free hearing screenings. We have Northwestern Energy, of course. They're always help contribute.
Supporter.
They're
Yes,
a huge
they do.
Supporter.
Yep.
Aging Horizons is one of our sponsors. doTERRA Oils and Rubicon Dental Services, which is a dental insurance that's supplemental to Medicare.
Right. And so the booths are like, we do during the day little sort of breaks where people can go and walk through the booth area and just see what interests them.
Yeah.
Right? And are there any booths left? Can people still get a booth?
There are still booth spaces available. We are maxing out at 35 booths, but I have plenty of space open.
So we're going to put your information up on the screen so people can let you know if they are interested in a booth, because those are super important, I think, Nicole, because it's really it's our attempt to get everybody's interests covered.
Yeah.
And not just what we think is important for aging. So let's talk again about when is the conference and how to register. So it's in October, correct?
Yep, October 4th and 5th.
Okay.
And we'll put the information on how to get to the registration page up.
Okay.
The registration is $75, which it hasn't changed in many years.
Yes.
We try to keep it at that $75.
Yep. That's the truth, and it's always good to know when we don't have to raise a price.
Right. And then online registration is $25.
Okay. And if you're in-person registration, you get all the sessions plus meals.
Yes, ma'am.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's at the Butte Copper King this year. We've been there in the past, and they are a wonderful venue for the conference. We have, again, this is the 53rd year, and it's the Rock Your Age. And let's talk just a minute more about what Rocking Your Age, and I know I'm leaving off part of the theme, but you tell us again.
Rock Your Age Communities of Strength.
Yeah.
And we're just really highlighting our seniors' resilience and their strength during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Because we've seen a lot of difficulty with our seniors. Well, with everybody certainly, but seniors have had a more difficult time with isolation and not being able to maybe go see family or friends or get to the doctor regularly because of that COVID.
Yeah.
And so this is a chance for us, as you said, to really talk about, because these folks, they build our communities.
They are our foundation.
Yeah, they really are. And for them to be able to come and have a day of celebration for them, I think is very, very important. Okay, and so let's talk again about the keynote speakers, because I think that's pretty important. We have a nutrition.
We do. We have a nutrition panel. So there'll be senior centers and nutrition directors from across the state represented there, just to talk about their programs and what's working for them and what isn't working.
Sure.
You know?
And that, that allows people in the audience who are maybe working in the same realm to either advise or to say, oh, that might work for me.
Exactly.
And so we really love that because we have folks coming from all over the state to the conference, as well as lots of staff from the Aging Network like to come to the conference just so that they can engage, learn, and just have some fun with folks.
Yeah.
And I think, is there any other sort of really special, well, we know we have Paul Greenwood.
We do have Paul Greenwood.
And you're right, boy, he is the hero, because he's a great, great, great person, great advocate, very smart. And will he actually be here in person then, or is he going to do virtual, or do we not know yet?
I'm not certain if he'll be in person yet or not. We are hopeful, though.
Yeah. Well, and he's just he's a wealth of information and knowledge, whether he's in person or not. And he's so friendly and so compassionate. And as you said, has worked on 750 different cases that are related to elder abuse or elder exploitation. Because it can't always be just fun at the conference. We have to talk about some serious stuff too. But we'll also have fun. We have great meals. We have great fun with the folks that are there. And like I said, I think the Centenarians part is the very best.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm so excited.
Anything else, Nicole? Because we're almost at an end here for this session. Is there anything else you want to really have folks take away about the Governor's Conference?
It's just so important, and I'm so grateful for all of our supporters and our sponsors, and really, really want you to get your centenarians recognized. We just look forward to seeing you.
Okay, well, that sounds great. Thanks so much, Nicole, for being with us. And folks, it's a chance to get out for the first time maybe in a couple of years and engage with your community and engage with others. For Aging Horizons, I'm Kimmy Everman. Thanks for being with us.
Special thanks to the Department of Public Health and Human Services for their continued support. Hosts on Aging Horizons are program specialists at the Montana Office on Aging. Production facilities provided by Video Express Productions. For more information about Aging Horizons, call the Department of Public Health and Human Services toll-free at 800-332-2272.